Hey everybody, welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land in the state of New Mexico. So, this is the first property that we've ever featured in Chaves County. This is our first Chaves County acquisition. I doubt it will be our last. I will tell you, however, that I would be shocked, if we ever get anything this good again, particularly as far as price per acre. We really lucked out with this property. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. Let's just do the overview. This is reference number CVNM1750, located as noted in Chaves County, New Mexico. It is roughly 10 acres, 9.84 to be exact. It is in the Berrendo Irrigated Farms subdivision. I'm sure you all know where that is. And it is priced at $12,000. So, couple things. Number one, when I was first vetting this property, I got it, I looked at it, I said, all right, this looks good, we'll buy this. And I didn't study it any more than I normally study things, which is to say that, I gave it a once over. Anywho, as it went through title escrow and as our photographer went out there and as I sat down to write about it and, come up with things to talk about in this video, I realized this is actually a really enviable property for a variety of reasons, which I'll get into, but one of them here is about city utilities. As noted in the headline, residential lot with city utilities. I just want to be clear about what that means because I don't want you guys to think that there's a water or a septic hookup that exists on the property. That's not what I mean by that. There is, however, only a finite amount of space to write catchy, quote-unquote, catchy headlines. What it means is it's in a highly developed area. It's actually within the city limits of Roswell, and all around you are homes that are hooked up to water and sanitation lines. Now, there's power at the lot line on this property. There's phone lines all throughout the area, so those two things won't be a problem. But unlike a lot of properties that we list that are in pretty rural areas that don't have utilities, this one, everyone around it is hooked up to city water and sanitation. So should be easier, should be more affordable if you choose to buy this property and build on it to hook up to those things and to have those amenities. So just FYI, that's what that means. All right, enough of that. Let me bring this up on a map, show you guys exactly where this is. As with all of our properties, come down here, click on the GPS coordinates. It'll bring it up on the Google Maps. So this property, there is no outline of this on the map, but this is basically a big 10-acre square. It looks like this right here. And actually, if you come back to the listing page that I just navigated away from, come down here to our sort of Google Earth outline of the property boundaries. This is where the property is, what it looks like. When I was buying this, one of the reasons I think all these features escaped me is that I was worried about legal access. We made the sale purchase agreement contingent on legal access, and we closed with Fidelity National Title out there in Chaves County. And so basically we wouldn't buy it if it didn't have legal access. They came back to us and they said, yes, it has legal access. It says along this road. This is Marion Richards Road. The road does not extend all the way out to the property simply because no one has had a need to do that. But there is an easement here for anyone who wants to access the land once they've purchased it. Just an FYI. Okay, and by the way, let's just show you what Marion Richards looks like. This is the cross street here between Atkinson and Marion Richards. The paved road is Atkinson. Marion Richards is this road right here. And if we go one step further, you will see this is the road that you would be driving down. And as you can see from this photo, you've got power lines, phone lines all throughout this area. So it gives you a sense of exactly city utilities. Anywho, back to the map. So let's zoom out a little bit, show you exactly where this is. So this property sits very close to the 70, to the Clovis Highway. Basically, come here off the Cumbrous Road exit, down here to Marion Richards, and then just boom, straight shot into the house. To the land, if you will. So you've got easy access to the highway, and then of course you've got easy access to the interchange over here, the 70 to the 285. The 285 is sort of the main drag that runs through Roswell, and as you zoom out further, you'll see this is Roswell, and here's the quote-unquote main drag. Within 5 miles of the house, you have a lot of basically, you're not short on being able to access things like groceries or supplies. Just down here, you've got. Hang on, I went too far. Oh, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. You've got the Roswell Mall right here, movie theaters right here, Walmart Supercenter, Sam's Club. So quick drive over to those things. And as you go further down the 285, you'll see that there's also things, I think I'm zoomed in too close. Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, Subway, banks, so on and so forth. So Target down here and Office Max. There's a Home Depot over here somewhere. You've got the Loveless Regional Hospital. Roswell is right here, so easy drive over there should you need any sort of medical attention, medical services. You're going to have that. And I think we've passed probably about 200 schools and parks in between the subject property and down here. So obviously there's a lot to do out there. A lot of amenities. And if we go down here further, Anderson Museum of Contemporary Art is down here. Right across from the New Mexico Military Institute. By the way, if we go a little bit further, I'm not going to go down the whole road, but if we go a little bit further, you'll see that, where's it at? Hang on. The Roswell International Air Center is right here as well. All just down the 285. So, back to the subject property. All right, aside from all that, I should also point out that the Berrendo Middle School sits just down the street from this property. In fact, if we measure distance, you can see less than a mile to the property. And from what we saw in those pictures earlier, it looks like pretty tame country roads. So if a typical problem for you is getting the kids out the door in the morning, is worrying about getting them to school on time, I don't think that'll be a factor anymore, number one. Or number two, I guess you could just have them walk if they're old enough, walk down, walk back, etc., less than a mile. So easier for you to focus on your own chores and your own commitments throughout the day. Blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about zoning for a second. So the title company came back with no CCRs for this property. So to be clear, there's no homeowners association fees, there's no property owners association fees, no rules that go with either of those. There are no covenants or restrictions that go with the land. There are, however, zoning laws in this area. If you come back to the table here, you can see this property is zoned RS Rural Suburban. And if you click on this PDF, it'll show you exactly what that means. Now, I'll say this. The Chaves County zoning ordinance is roughly 400 pages, something like that. We excerpted the 5 pages that feel most relevant to defining rural suburban district. So I'd encourage anybody who's interested in this property to read through this. Rural suburban right here, you can get a sense of setbacks, things like that, what's required of the property. My guess is if you're buying a $12,000 property, you're not looking to do some sort of off-grid thing. If you are, however, my suspicion is a tiny home would be out of question. That's a guess based on reading this, based on some conversations I've had with planning and zoning, or that my assistants had. And if your desire is to live out of an RV indiscriminately, you could probably do it with a building permit for about a year, but you're going to have built whatever it is that you're building. That being said, a prefab home or a shipping container home is probably acceptable out there so long as it meets the assorted, height and square footage requirements, which it probably would. Any sort of single-family residence obviously is going to be acceptable in this area. Just an FYI. Whatever the case, read over this more and you'll get a better sense of all that. Now, I also want to point out to you, so aside from being just sort of in the heart of Roswell and with easy access to all the things that I mentioned earlier, you've got a lot of access here to some great outdoorsy things. Outdoorsy things, he says. To the east over here, you've got the Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge. And down here, you've got the Bottomless Lake State Park. Now, I should mention, if you come back to our listing page here and you scroll down here to points of interest, we have numerous points of interest throughout this area. Click on any one of these links. It's going to take you to their respective listing pages. By the way, I couldn't do a video about Roswell without mentioning something like the International UFO Museum. So if you click on, for instance, that link, it will take you here. You will be able to read more about the International UFO Museum. Anyway, they got a lot of stuff like this down there. And as you probably saw from the photo gallery here, everything down there is alien themed. They clearly make a lot of money on the tourism that comes from their alien sighting, history. So, FYI. Anyway, back to the lakes. All right, so Bottomless Lake State Park, read more about that. You're a quick drive away from that. Boating, fishing, camping, hiking, so on and so forth. Easy to do out there. And the Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge is also in your backyard just to the east. Now, I should also mention the property sits roughly about an hour away from Ruidoso. Ruidoso is to your east. Hello, let's zoom back a little bit. Yeah, Ruidoso is to your east over here. What can you do in Ruidoso? Well, you've got the winter park out there. A lot of great winter sports that you could take advantage. You've also got Ski Apache that's out there. You can go skiing. There's Ruidoso Downs Racetrack and Casino that is also, roughly about an hour away to your west. So a lot of great things that you can do out that way. I should also mention within Roswell city limits, you also have the Spring River Park and Zoo for the kids, and you've also got the Anderson Museum of Contemporary Art, which I believe I pointed out earlier, but that's available as well. Now, let's go back to this for a second. If you have questions about zoning that aren't answered in that zoning PDF, I would highly encourage you to come down here to our county contact information. Call planning and zoning office, tell them what you want to do, see if it's acceptable, see what kind of permits you need. As noted, anything remotely single-family residential is probably going to be acceptable. I should also mention that because there are utilities in this area, we've taken the time here to link to the local utility companies. Central Valley Electric Cooperative is one of them. There's also a solar company out there, New Mexico Solar Group, as well as Roswell Water and Sanitation. So you click on any one of these, it's going to bring up their respective websites where you can call them and talk to them about cost of hooking up things to the property, so on and so forth. Anyway, with all this said, let's talk about price. So as noted, these roughly 10 acres are priced at $12,000. This is the part of the video where I bring up land and farm, and I'll show you guys comps. I will, however, tell you that it's very difficult to find comps out here. There's not a lot. I'm not seeing a lot in that acreage range, and I'm certainly not seeing a lot that comes anywhere close price point. So this is 5 to 20 acres, sorted by lowest price first. So this is one of Ken Taylor's properties. He's got 5 acres for $6,500. That's, you know, that's akin to, on a price per acre basis, what we're doing. Aside from him, however, I'm seeing 6.5 acres for $20,000, and then it all goes up from there. 5 acres for $32,000, so on and so forth. Now, some of these obviously have homes on them. Some of them have, you know, other amenities, other features. Not a lot of comps out there for this, but everything that I looked at, price per acre that is smaller than 5 or larger than 20, does not shake out to this roughly, you know, $1,000 plus that we have for this property. So 10 acres for $12,000 is a really good price. Now, let's talk about how you can purchase this property from us. If you come here to How It Works, the Buying From Us page, you'll get a better sense of what we recommend for a property like this. Anything over $10,000, we encourage you guys to close through a title company. This way, we don't touch your money until the property has been recorded into your name. We do, however, ask for a deposit. That's what you see here on this page. This is $500 that goes to the purchase price. So basically $500 outside of escrow, $11,500 at close of escrow. Click this Buy Now button. It's going to bring up a secure checkout page where you can enter all your information for us. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to write a contract. You sign it, we sign it. We'll submit it to the title company, and they will do the rest slowly. They'll do the rest slowly. Don't get me started. Anyway, if you want to see a copy of what one of those contracts looks like, just come here, click on this link, and it'll bring up one of our standard sale purchase agreements. This obviously is a very simple one page and one page for signatures, but that's what it's going to look like. So if you're one of these people who says, I don't want to put down $500 until I see a contract, this is what the contract's going to look like. It's not going to look much different than that. As noted, we closed on this with Fidelity National Title. We would encourage you to close with them again because theoretically, they should be able to do that quickly. Anyway, all right, so with all that said, I hope all this is informative. I really like this property, guys. As I said, I didn't realize how good this one was when I was purchasing it until we really got to the last stages and the photographer went down there, and I realized it was in the heart of Roswell and it's got all these city utilities around it. So I think it's an enviable property and it's at a really good price, and I believe this one's going to get scooped up quickly, but we'll see. All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you in the next video.